residential district zoning. The permitted uses within that land use are single-family detached homes, churches, schools, education and libraries, horticulture, and accessory structures that are incidental to the primary structures. The minimum lots within the subdivision are approximately a half an acre. The maximum is 2.8 acres, and the average size of the lots is 1 acre. The property is within the city's land use plan. The 20-year land use plan, which we'll show on slide 15, was low density residential, and this is consistent with that land use plan. The zonings adjacent to the property are residential on 3 sides, but there is agriculture, but it's on the other side of Interstate 75. So we will start looking at the financial impacts of the annexations on the city, starting with the recorder's office. We base this based on a value of $400,000 new home construction. It'll average and generate $7,920 per lot in city property taxes. Multiplying that by 73, there'll be an annual of $57,684.60 in annual property taxes. Shared tax will be $114.62 per capita, averaging that there'll be 3 homes per house times 73, means that there'll be an income of $31,671.78 paid to the city annually. Then there's also a sales tax contribution with a baseline of $263.75 per capita. Doing that multiplication again, it'll be $57,761.25 paid annually. If you add all those together, it is estimated that we will receive per year $147,117.63 in taxes. Next, we'll move on to Public Works. In the Ocas Barrels Valley subdivision, the garbage collection will be 1 day a week instead of 2 in other areas. It will have an upfront cost of $7,300 for the 73 toters that will be needed for the single-family homes that are being constructed. There'll be an operating cost of $9,490 annually, based on $10.83 per home per month, but that'll be funded and taken care of through municipal tax. And then there was a cost that was given if they were going to do the 2 homes 2 days per week, but that is not happening. They're staying at the 1 day per week. The new roads that were within the subdivision will be accepted by the city. There will be no initial financial impact. 10-year capital obligation for the resurfacing of the road is estimated to be $239,380. Other city services, engineering starting off. We did do a traffic impact study of this subdivision, and there were improvements that were required along Matlock Bend and River Road. All of those expenses are being taken care of by the developer. There's no additional capital costs. Income from the development for the engineering and planning department will be nominal based on fees that were collected during the process of the annexation, and there may be future revenue from impact fees. Public safety, there is no initial impact. There's no capital costs that were needed, and they stated that they were sufficiently equipped to handle the emergency and protection services for the new subdivision that's being brought in. Building department, there is no new capital costs that are needed. Revenue is estimated to be $121,180 based on $1,660 per permit for the new homes that will be constructed in the subdivision. Parks and Rec has no additional capital costs in the subdivision, but they did note that new residents will increase the use of parks and facilities, and there'll be an increase possibly in maintenance costs. So now we will get into the discussion about LUB's utilities being provided to the subdivision. We'll start with water service. Based on the 73 homes, it is estimated that connection cost will be $700 per residential lot, generating $51,100 in upfront costs for the subdivision. Monthly revenue for the subdivision, it's estimated that each home will cost $60.57 for service, which will be a monthly revenue of $4,421.60. There is a capacity sewer rate fee for the development that ranges from $1,500 for a 3/4 inch meter up to a 12-inch meter is $24,000 a month, and those will be based on the meter sizes for the subdivision. There's also an additional fee for any irrigation systems that are connected. The subdivision is being required to amend the fire hydrant layout through the subdivision to be at 500 feet, and the plans will be amended for that requirement of change from it being a county subdivision to being city. Right now they're at 700 feet, so the plans are being amended. Natural gas, the development at this time has elected to not have natural gas extended into the subdivision, but this would be the connection and financial impacts if they were gonna put gas into the subdivision. Electric, there is an aid of construction of $2,200 per lot, which will be a total cost based on 73 lots of $160,600. There are gonna be streetlights within the subdivision. There'll be 22 streetlights installed. There'll be $1,100 a piece that takes care of the aid of construction for the installation of those lights. And the electric bill for the streetlights will be requested to be paid by the HOA. Then later on during the construction, there's a connection fee of $30 per lot, which over 73 lots is $2,190. Average usage revenue for the city averages $153.56 per home, which accrues $11,209.88 per month in revenue for the electric bills. Wastewater, I'm almost done, I swear. Wastewater, there's a new ERU capacity fee that's being collected for new developments. It is costing $6,966 per ERU. That means that based on 73 lots, the revenue or the capacity fee will be $508,518 paid to the LUB. There's a connection fee of $700 per lot, so that revenue will be $51,100. The monthly sewer revenue is estimated to be $42.10 per home, which will be a monthly revenue of $3,073.30 per month. This is the location of the property that's being annexed into the city of Loudon. This is what the R1S subdivision looks like as it's being annexed into the city to show how it fits into the surrounding land uses. This is the layout of the 73 lots as it was approved in the December 3rd plans, and we have not received, and it's remaining this way.
We'll have, so she mentioned earlier, the sewer service. For the plans that were approved, you will see them again. They will be amended to show the sewer service. The lot count is the same. The plan of service, as she stated, is based on the 73 lots, and the configuration of the subdivision as it's shown. There will be some additional, utilities design that will, to accommodate that additional, utility service.
And then this is the, land use plan and showed how where the property sits within that land use plan. That concludes the presentation for the plan of service.
Thank you. If we could now invite the applicant to come and make a statement, please.
Afternoon, Ben Mullins and John Rosebush. John's with CMH. I'm their attorney. You guys have seen this one before. It was back before you in December where the original plat was approved. The planning staff put together just some examples of the types of homes that CMH does construct. We're still working through exactly what homes will be on that, but again, the lots themselves and the general layout is essentially the same as what was approved back in December. So this development is going to get developed pretty much as is presented, whether it remains in the county or it comes into the city. I think in working with the city, it's to the benefit of both the applicant and the city for it to be annexed. There's a net positive benefit to the city economically, and it allows us to service these homes with sanitary sewer instead of the septic systems that we had planned when it was with the county. So I mean, that's really it in a nutshell while we're making this application. There's going to be road improvements. It's going to have access to both River Road and Matlock. That was a requirement of the original plat when it came through here in December, and that hasn't changed. Like Mr. Hogan said, there's going to be some amendments to this plan that you'll see with regard to the street lights utility service. We'll have to change the separation for the fire hydrants and everything else that Ms. Sear and Mr. Hogan mentioned. But we think it's a net positive overall, and we hope that you'll approve this plan of services and send this along. Happy to answer any questions. Mr. Rosebush can go into a lot more detail about what the plans are as well.
If there are any questions now, we can discuss it later.
Okay.
And we will have discussion about what you think about the plan of service.
During the application.
And if I can say one more thing, I've been involved in quite a few annexations in other jurisdictions. This is the most detailed and thorough plan of services I've ever seen, so I was very impressed with that. Shout out.
Thank you very much. After the public hearing, we will probably have questions. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to now open the public hearing. We have two people signed up for public comments. The first person signed up is Chase Randolph.
Good afternoon. First, thank you all. I know this is a thankless job and take time out of your day monthly to do this, and this is important business. I'm not for the annexation or against it really. I'm kind of numb to it now. I'm over it. I want to dive into the zoning that's going to be tied to this annexation, the R1S. So let's say six months from now, Clayton decides not to do it. They sell the whole thing. It goes on the market. The next person that can come in can put 10,000 square foot lots in there. So on 81 acres, you go from what I think is going to be a pretty nice subdivision on a large amount of land to 73 and turn it into 350 and lose some for road. So I mean, you're 275, 300 homes go in there. I want to know, is there any way that we could put in writing that it would revert back? Just some fall proofs with the zoning on it, because nobody in that area wants to see 250 homes.
We're already putting that language into the plan of service, saying that it locks it in at 73, and if there's any request for it to increase, it would have to, the whole process would have to start over again.
So if 73 changes, this process starts all over. It's null and void.
I understand that. My issue with it is, councils change, mayors change, these positions change. If you lock in the zoning, at R1S and something goes south with this, and it's went south a while now. I encourage any of y'all just to drive down and check it out. It looks like a bomb's went off, but we'll get there. We'll get there, I guess. But I appreciate y'all's time, consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that was an important issue
I do
to
too.
raise, so I'm glad you raised it, Jace. But I think, as a planning commission, we were cognizant of that and wanted to make sure that, at our level anyway, we did everything we can. Of course, we don't determine the actual annexation that will end up going back to the city council. But I think it's an important protection we've tried to see us happen.
We have a second person that signed up, Tommy. I wasn't gonna try to pronounce your last name.
So, basically, I'm sort of second what he brought up, but I'd like to know if it gets rezoned, and if you can't make any assurances, just say so today, but if it gets rezoned and this subdivision doesn't go in, can it change to 350 or 400 houses? And can you offer any assurances? And if you can't, just say you can't, because that's what I want to hear. You can or you can't. Does anybody have anything to say about that? Because I think the way it's laid out now, is everybody's pretty good with it, but I've talked to several people. Their concern is if this falls through. And this has been going on. I've not seen the first house built there yet, so it seems like we come back and ask for some more, we come back and ask for something else and something else.
Well, R1 is our most dense, least dense zoning. That's the least dense we have in the city, R1.
And so how,
That's the fewest, that's the fewest houses
how
that
big
could
a
be in
lot would that be?
10,000 square feet.
So that's how it's gonna be zoned if this happens.
Yes, R1S, and that's single family only.
Now,
Not
however,
multifamily.
How it'll be platted is as it's shown, so these, you can either meet the 10,000 square foot minimum or exceed it, in the way that it's being framed here is exceeding that. And so the way it will be platted and the lots are drawn and defined is how it would be finalized.
I mean, as far as we know today, it's gonna be the 70-something house,
73.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
about 1 acre average.
Yes.
Mhm.
Could that change if something else changes?
They would have to start the process all over and have to go through planning commission again, have to go through city council again.
Even if some other buyer gets it?
Yes,
Would this commission approve something more than 1 acre?
I know I won't. So, and I've told Mr. Rosenbush that. Now,
Anybody else?
it can't go over 73, it cannot
I'd like to
change.
see a commitment.
We've already made a commitment by, saying that this is being approved conditioned on the 73 lots being there. We haven't seen any other,
What if you do see some of it?
just like the mayor said, it would have to go back through a completely new process. The planning commission is different than the city council. Whatever rules are on the books is what the planning commission has to look at. We don't get to change the rules. So if the rules call for 10,000 foot lots plus a bunch of other language, then we approve those based on a request to protect the developer's rights. However, the city council can modify those anytime they wanted to. So in the city council, you have elected members, and we have an election coming up. I can't predict what the outcome of the election is, any more than I could
And I
predict
get
that.
it, I do get that, so the
I'll-
only
I'll say
assurance we would have is to not, it not be rezoned. That would be a great assurance for everybody, right?
My understanding, it was already rezoned, to residential. And this falls into that residential classification. And
No, the current zoning falls under county residential, which is totally different than city.
that's right.
Annexation would bring on the R1S.
And in the city, our comparable residential is the one that allows 10,000 square foot lots.
Which it's not now, that way.
The way it was plotted is allowable by county regulations too. The way it's plotted right now.
Not 10,000 square foot lots, Tommy.
Pardon?
It's not 10,000 square foot lots. The current zoning is
It is different, but it allows the plot plan that was approved.
correct, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So that's a
It
state.
means counties.
We can only act, we acted before as a planning commission because of our oversight review, because it's in Loudon's urban growth boundary. That's the only authority we had. And we based our recommendation of the site plan approval, and it happened to be 73 lots that also met the standards for the county subdivision regulation. We haven't seen anything at our level to indicate anybody has a desire to exceed that.
So, the only other thing, how Clayton, or the good old Clayton,
It's Clayton, we'll speak when you're done.
well, my only thing is how sure are we that what we've got the plat now is gonna actually happen?
I have no idea whether Clayton will be in business next week. I don't control them. Okay, but if they're going to do this development, this is what they're going to be authorized to do, assuming the city annexes it.
Now, the only one other small thing,
Mhm.
could be large if you live there, under the safety part of this, when you go Queen Road to get out on 72 and you wanna go left, you can't hardly ever, I've had to go right several times, go turn around and go back. So, and this is gonna add a bunch more traffic, so a traffic light might need to be looked at.
That would have to be a TDOT, that's a state route, so that would have to be a TDOT decision.
But I don't know T-Dot personally, but if anybody knows
But that-
T-Dot on this panel.
I agree that that's
let's
probably
get
something that
something
we
done,
looked
'cause
at.
that's gonna be
Yeah.
a big issue.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. We will have a discussion regarding this after this, but can I get a motion to adjourn the public hearing portion of this meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you,
I'll second the motion.
thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. This public hearing has been adjourned at 12:58. We will now go into the discussion of application number 260, the review of the proposed annexation and plan of service for the Oak at Sparrow Valley.
To do that, I do have some questions for you based on the plan of service, whether you feel that's sufficient or not. If we go through that first, if that's okay with you all. So a couple things that are required in Tennessee code of the plan of service that lists some requirements. It's the plan of services shall be reasonable with respect to the scope of services to be provided and the timing of delivery of these services. The plan of services shall include but not be limited to police protection, fire protection, water service, electrical service, sanitary sewer service, solid waste collection, road and street construction and repair, recreational facilities and programs, street lighting, and zoning services. There's also a requirement for school systems. If the municipality does not maintain a separate school system, then the city shall provide a written notice of the annexation to all affected school systems as soon as practicable, but in no event less than 30 days before the public hearing requirement outlined in this particular subsection of Tennessee Code. Once the city council public hearing is set, we're having a public hearing today in Planning Commission. there will be an additional public hearing held in city council, as we go into first and second readings, and the associated resolutions, to amend the zoning map and to annex. Once the city council public hearing date is set to move forward with the annexation, this notification letter will be sent along with a timeline that would meet that 30-day requirement. So having read this kind of requirements and trying to exhibit that we're trying to meet those, the following details are kind of prepared in a list of questions to make sure that we're kind of hitting some of these requirements, and you feel that the plan of service was prepared properly. So one of the questions, does the plan of service reasonably address the scope of services to be provided? If you all feel that answer is yes, just please indicate that unless you have any other questions.
I think this has been typical of plan of services we've seen before. I think it goes into the required list of topics that have to be covered, and seems like they've been addressed specifically in the detail that was covered on the reading into the record.
Thank you for that feedback, and also we a lot of the department heads here for the city and the utilities work to prepare these reports for you and for city council to look at this, from both the planning standpoint, but also the financial impacts to both groups. So we appreciate their time and effort and your comments. And if you do feel that there's any other information that would be helpful, we'll note that here today. So of the services that we've described and the plan of services that you have in your packet, are the proposed timelines for city and LUD services reasonable? An answer to that question could be that most of them you should find, please find that there will be delivered either upon the effective date of annexation. So when city council approves it, they give an effective date. Police, for example, have indicated that they can provide service that day. Others may be delivered upon developer provision. So there may be permitting process. They're installing it. We'll inspect it. There's also an aid of construction process that develops a timeline in that. Hearing no questions, we'll move on, feeling that this is to your satisfaction, satisfies that it's delivered in or described with a delivery timeline. Is the existing capacity of the city's utilities and departments sufficient to serve the area? We're exhibiting, our intent is to exhibit to you that these services are available. They may require capacity fees or other developer-provided installation to extend the services, but they're within the area of this development. If you feel that that's addressed in this plan, please let us know. Has the cost of extending these services been fully estimated, and has funding been identified in this plan?
Yes.
Thank you. Are long-term maintenance and operational impacts of these extensions of service considered? An example of that would be developer providing installation of asphalt pavement in the roads. There's some consideration for public works for 10 years from now have a resurface.
I think so.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Any other information that you feel should be part of the report to provide you with the ability to make a decision or recommendation on this matter? Okay. It's a note that no other utility districts should be impacted by the provision of service here that would otherwise require some kind of interlocal agreement. So all the service footprint is within Loudon Utilities. And I think that's all the questions that we have. Laura, can you think of any others?
Nope. Do you
So-
want to give a timeline of what's gonna happen next if they do?
Yeah, we can do that. And I think that, so what, these answers will be part of a report that we'll compile to city council. So these specific questions are for that report compilation to make sure that we answer these questions about the plan of service specifically, and then any other discussion that you have, we'll also report to them, so.
We plan on, depending, whatever your recommendation is, we'll report it to the August 10th, city council workshop. And then moving forward, it'll set the dates for what, meetings happen next. The first reading of any legislation would be the 24th of August with a public hearing on September 28th. So just to give a timeline from leaving here, what the next steps are, if you guys decide to move forward.
The action we're taking today is just on the plan of services, approving the plan of services.
Today's just a review of the plan of service to make a recommendation.
So you're needing a recommendation to submit this forward to city council for their consideration in their annexation procedures
And setting the zoning, yes.
in setting the same. And I'll make that recommendation that we go ahead and submit this forward to city council for their consideration for both of those items.
I'll second.
Is there any other discussion or questions that needs to be had?
I appreciate the people that live back there and their concerns. I think those are valid concerns. And 73 is the number in my book. It can't change. So,
We can speak to that if you'd like.
sure, when we get, yeah, we can. I mean, that's fine if you want to speak to that
No
now.
problem.
I think aren't most of the lots already pretty much
Well,
cut in?
it's not so much that, we can discuss the process and how we determine a property's viability and potential density lot count, whether or not it works. I mean, we can talk about that, and I understand the concerns, and I don't want to come up with, we can walk through this, but I want to dispel this rumor that there's no intent of that. The pure cost alone to revise infrastructure, regrade, tear everything out based on what's already been spent previously. I could double my lot count and I would still exceed the LAP price that makes the house sellable. That LAP is a term that's thrown around and landed up as a land acquisition price. That includes the property, the design, the construction, up to the point of vertical construction for homes. And that number has to meet a certain level of criteria for us to be able to sell a home based on the comps in the area and the availability of people that can afford the house. Again, it's not feasible to redesign this site. There is no intent of redesigning this site. You could give me the highest level density zoning available. We are not redesigning the site. The topography and the level of infrastructure and grading necessary to increase the lots from what they currently are makes the houses unaffordable. It's not able to be placed. If anything, it would behoove us to sell this to a custom builder to build giant houses and make lots larger versus going smaller. It's just not something we can do. This is the maximum density that we ever intended to get. It's the maximum density that's designable. It's the maximum density that we've agreed to, we promised, we agreed to in the last go around as stipulation for approval. And there's no intent, no discussion in any capacity of coming back and trying to do that. Now, I understand their point that they want a reassurance. To his point, we'd be out of business tomorrow. I can't reassure anything, but I can tell you that there is no intent of it. And for somebody to be able to afford to do that, I can't imagine the house they'd have to place to make it affordable. You You just can't do it. The drainage has to come out, the entire site has to be regraded, there's rock to contend with. It's not happening.
Thank you, John.
Well, yep, if you're ready.
I would say, if the motion and the second still stand, then can I please get a roll call vote for the recommendation of sending this to city council?
Dennis Brennan, absent. Clayton Pangle,
Yes.
Brandon DeBoer,
Yes.
Kevin Bookout,
Yes.
Jeff Harris,
Yes.
Rachel Rendon,
Yes.
Tim Dixon is absent, Scott Wilson is absent, and Linda Leffler,
Yes.
and Abigail Allshouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
The next item of business that we have is application number 255, the review of the preliminary plat for the Lakeside Village Phase 2. The applicant is HDI Incorporated, property owner is Dr. Lakeside Loudon LLC, tax map is 041B, Group I, parcel 001.01, tax map is 041B, parcels 33 to 33.004, and tax map 041B, parcel 1 to parcel 10, R2 High Density Residential District. You could, if there's somebody here, y'all can come up, please.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Walls, I'm the president of HDI. This is a project that we're picking up to really just finish out a community. I think we thought we were gonna come in and just be able to submit building permits and get going, but it's been a while, so we understand that there's some questions that we needed to answer, problems we needed to solve for. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I can add some additional context here. So as she stated, this is an infill development. So there's existing there, is it 13 units?
Yes.
Somewhere around there. So they're adding additional 23 units, which are also being added, will be added to a final plat. This is a preliminary plat to you, and indicating where infrastructure, including the internal driveways and utilities, have been installed. So the city and Loudon Utilities have coordinated with the developer to put camera and video sewer systems, stormwater, and they're committed to, upon finishing this construction, making sure that this infrastructure is maintained and functioning. And we went through a vetting process of, is it there and what kind of condition is it in? And so the utilities have been satisfied with that part of the process, and we're prepared to ask you if that's sufficient, which will allow us to issue permits moving forward with building permits from Travis. Is that captured pretty well?
I wanted to ask a basic question. I wasn't on planning commission when the original Lakeside Village subdivision final plat was done. I thought it, what was the final, when you refer to that as the final plat, was that just for the units that were built at that time, or was it for the whole subdivision that was planned at that time?
I believe it was for all of them, and which was problematic because those are different architectural prototypes, and so there's common space, and we've had some recent issues with shared walls and other things that we wanted to make sure that when we went into building permitting that we were addressing that, and also wanted to ensure that the infrastructure was in place that was part of that preliminary and final plat.
So, is a plot of record right now, is there changes that are made on what we're calling now a preliminary plat approval process? Are there changes to that plot that's on record?
Yes, sir, there will be a replat.
Okay, so that's the way it'll be classified. I was trying to look at the legal language to understand. So this is, the action we're taking now would be a vote to approve what we're calling the preliminary plat of record on this date.
Yeah, it's maybe more appropriately amended preliminary plat, or given that these,
And the general footprint's the same.
yes, they're very comparable.
I did have a question. I couldn't tell. I think this has to do with the old part of the development, but up where you showed the second entrance away from the bridge, if you go up and make a right-hand turn, that's not a continuing, that's sort of a dead end right there at that one unit. Is that correct? And then you've got 3 units, so you can't get to the 3 units from the street. You have to go back to the street to get to the 3 units on the extreme edge.
On the far edge, to the east of.
This little thing doesn't continue. I can't tell. There's not a cul-de-sac there, so, and there's not a way to turn around. I mean, I assume that rectangle gives them enough space to get into the unit that's there.
Yeah, it's just for access to those 2 units.
Yeah.
Another way in which this has been amended is that it's also was stamped by an engineer for this plan
Oh, okay.
to assess whether or not the redevelopment in different size of units would accommodate.
I'd recommend we approve this preliminary plan that's been presented to us today.
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Can I please get a roll call vote for the approval of the preliminary plat?
Brandon DeBoer,
Yes.
Clayton Pangle,
Yes.
Kevin Bookout,
Yes.
Jeff Harris,
Yes.
Rachel Random,
Yes.
Linda Leffler,
Yes.
Abigail Allshouse.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next application is application number 232, the review of the site plan. The applicant and property owner is James Towing and Transport, the tax map 031, parcel 77. It is light industrial district.
So we do have the applicant here. This is pursuant to previous application for a text amendment to revise the definitions of record service and record storage yard. They've also provided a site plan, which is required as a commercial property. The site plan that's shown here indicates the location of a new building. It's a permanent fixture on the site. They've indicated gravel parking and storage areas. They're also showing additional new parking to satisfy parking requirements for the new building. Everything else on the site will remain as was. So they do have an existing right-of-way access with a driveway, and there are other pre-existing fixtures on site. If you have any questions about the site plan, we can answer those. We'll also, this will be, I think you have it in the staff report available to you. This will be conditional upon review of this item in Board of Zoning Appeals as a special exception. And predominantly, some of the requirements that we've talked about, we added to the zoning ordinance. You'll have some discretionary ability in that meeting to talk about number of vehicle storage, lighting, some of the street access, and other screening or details that you may want to look at site-specific requirements. But for this matter, it's for approval of the site plan.
Right now.
That's all,
Process.
yeah. Two-step process.
I'll make a
Backwards.
motion that we approve.
Conditional upon Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yeah, so
Approval? Okay.
that's gonna follow, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it could be conditional upon the approval of the zoning appeals as well.
Yeah, I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Can I please get a roll call vote?
Clayton Pangle,
Yes.
Brenda DeVore,
Yes.
Kevin Bookout,
Yes.
Jeff Harris,
Yes.
Rachel Rendon,
Yes.
Linda Leffler,
Yes.
Abigail Allhouse.
Yes. The last item of new business that we have is application number 273, the review of the preliminary plat for the Tennessee National Pod 22. The applicant Tyler Gross Barge Design Solutions, the property owner is Tennessee National LLC, tax map 23, portion of the parcel 1.04 for the planned development district.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon. What you got before you here is the preliminary plat for, I think probably the last big pod out of Tennessee National. We're running out of space here, but this is 114 lots at the front of Tennessee National, just kind of as you get past the entrance up on the ridgetop area. 114 lots, about an average lot size of 0.5, 0.6 acres, meeting all the required setbacks of the PUD. So 25-foot front setback, 15 rear, and then 5 on either side. We've been working with staff for the past several months, coming up with some ways to develop this, in the ridgetop area with some steep slopes and things like that. So I think we've got a good solution here. Welcome any questions.
This is all part of the master plan as well, correct?
That was approved in April.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You wanna speak about the variances and the driveways?
Sure. Yeah, so one of the things we've been working with the past few months with Michael and Lori there is, this is up on the ridgetop, so it's some steep slopes, and so basically we've got the roads aligned with the tops and the spine of the ridge, but that left us with some challenges regarding getting down or up to the lots, and they're using their driveways. So what we've done is gone ahead and graded out to the front setback line a maximum of 20% slope if needed. Some lots you don't. I think probably half, 2/3 of them you do we had to grade out to the setback 20%, so that would need a variance up to that maximum amount that you allow. But the other lots, if you don't need it, then we just left it alone, so.
And we've typically done that before.
They're allowed to do it because of the planned developments,
development.
but it just needs to be noted on the plat
Yeah.
that that's how it's being designed. Also, to talk about the cul-de-sacs. The 3 of the cul-de-sacs exceed the 600.
Oh, yeah, so a couple of the cul-de-sacs exceed the 600-foot maximum. One is, I think, 700, one's 900, and I can't remember the third one. But we're also asking for the variance to exceed that here as well as a part of the PUD.
Why did they have to be exceeded? Because of the lot size?
Why does the road have to be exceeded or
The cul-de-sac?
Well, I mean, we'd have to shorten up the roads and then you just have a bunch of unused space. We were just maximizing the lot count. There's no real way to connect either off of those 3 cul-de-sac roads back to any other road.
Mhm.
which we could, if there was a way, you could have split it and had an intersecting road and therefore cutting the length in half, but there's no feasible way to do that. There's some pretty big valleys, in the back there and other existing lots already, so,
The topography is probably, is a challenge there too.
yeah, very much so.
We have other review comments that we've been working through with the developer and with LUB, so contingent on the approval is to address the rest of those comments also. They were in your staff report.
Part of our discussion about driveway, slopes, I think got started out in this area, and it remains. You can look at the topography, and it's hard to see how to access enough of the property. When I've gone back and looked at some of the ones that have been completed, I don't see that they're they just fit in with the rest of the development now, even though they're steeper. And I wouldn't be able to get my wife to buy a house with one that had 20% driveway slope because of her fears about snow and ice. But it doesn't just necessarily detract from the nature of the neighborhood.
I make a motion to approve the preliminary plat.
I'll second.
Who was that second?
The
You,
Oh, it did, that did not sound
it
like
did
your
not.
voice.
I think they split it and started saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Two voices.
That's all right. I'll hush.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, can I please get a roll call vote?
Yes. Let's see, Brandon DeVore,
Yes.
Kevin Bookout,
Yes.
Clayton Pangle,
Yes.
Jeff Harris,
Yes.
Rachel Randon,
Yes.
Linda Leffler,
Yes.
Abigail Walthouse,
Yes,
and that's it, thank you.
thank you. As far as committee reports and staff reports, we do have one item listed on the agenda. It is the discussion regarding the recommendation to the Loudon City Council for a temporary memorandum on data center approval permits and operations, included data mining, processing, and AI activities within the city to allow staff to review land use regulations.
Yeah, so this has been a current event. We haven't received any input from the public asking engineering and planning staff about this item, but thought we would just bring it to you if you would like an opportunity to discuss it, and otherwise make a recommendation to city council to pick it up and see if it's an item that we would like to look at in greater depth as other communities have with a moratorium, or just otherwise consider it as a priority when we look at our zoning ordinance provisions. Lori's put a lot of information together for us, if you want to go through some of these items.
It's a hot topic right now. The county just did it, I think, the
Yeah.
last meeting.
Greenback's got it on their agenda. Oh,
Knoxville discussed it too as well.
So, and you know, if we wanted to talk about it, if you wanted me to go through the memo, let me know what you guys, how you would like to proceed.
Would there be a certain time frame for the moratorium, or is it just until it gets reversed?
We're goaling for 6 months. That'll give us enough time for that, from when city council approves it, for us to be able to go through the study process of then putting it in a zoning district, and then any regulations that then come out of recommendations that we receive.
Yeah,
That's what the
most are doing 6 to 12 months, different.
The county adopted one for 6 months.
Yeah, we basically use the counties as a model for creating this, I hate the word moratorium, but an opportunity for us to study the new development that's coming.
We have a county commissioner here, Bill. He's not
So
gonna-
we did 6 months with the option of 6 more months. In case we couldn't do it, our attorney wrote it into the resolution that we have the 6, and then an option of 6 more.
It'll be a resolution, so it's not actually an ordinance, so resolutions can then get amended if we need additional time.
I think it also gives you guys time to work through this rather than having it thrown on your desk and saying, hey, this is coming, let's figure out what we can do.
Yeah.
Get ahead of the curve, yeah.
Yeah.
We would otherwise, we don't have any means to process it out. It's not contemplated in the zoning ordinance now, so we would have to go through a process of text amendments to fold it in and figure out what the requirements will be anyway, so. Yeah, as you're saying, this.
So they'd be pushing, right? In
Yeah.
order to move things forward, in this little bit of a
Yes.
break, you guys get the opportunity to review and put it the way that you want it to be.
And we'd have a way to have a conversation with them that there is this pause that's already in place and maybe even be able to give in some input of what, how this should develop if we did get an application that was submitted, but right now we don't have one, so we'd rather be ahead of it we are gonna get some assistance from, a consultant that has been doing these for other communities to help us with options for, how we wanna proceed with them.
I think it's fine for us to make a recommendation of this type, and city council can take the action to actually turn it into effect. There's, in my mind, there's a lot of scary things that are projected that can happen, but no one knows for sure whether those are valid. So there needs to be some reflection to see whether they are valid or not. We certainly need to move forward with technology, but not at all costs. So I think that's reasonable. Do you need a motion for us to do that?
Yes, please.
Did you make, was that a motion?
I make
I'll second Clayton's motion.
to make a recommendation they consider.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Or do we need a roll call vote for this?
No, we just need all
Okay.
in favor.
Okay, thank you. Just wanna make sure I'm doing it procedurally correct.
No, this is like contingent on anything.
Just a second. All in favor of recommending that this goes to city council for discussion?
Ah,
All those opposed? Thank you. Alright, can I get a motion to adjourn planning commission?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Planning commission is now adjourned. I would now like to call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting.
Abigail Alta.
Here.
Dennis Brennan. Clayton Tangle.
Here.
Brandon DeBoer.
Here.
Kevin Bookout.
Here.
David Mears, Mayor Harris.
Yeah,
sitting
here.
For him. Rachel Rendon. Here. Tim Dixon. Scott Wilson. And Linda Leffler.
Everyone should have the meeting minutes from June 3rd's meeting. Has everyone gotten a chance to review them or have any questions?
Yes and no. Review, no questions.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
We'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright, you also have the agenda set before you. Has everyone gotten a chance to review that? Are there any amendments or changes that we need to make to the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second that motion.
All those in favor? Opposed? We have no public comments for this, so the only item that we have is old business, it is application number 271 for the review of special exception to request to allow a wrecker service storage yard to meet the requirements of section 14.619, the applicant and property owner, James Towing and Transport, for the light industrial district.
They were here.
Yeah.
They maybe had to step out, the applicant. For this part of the meeting, we talked about the site plan. We did ask them to provide a checklist affirming that they understand these. We had some new regulations, they were part of that process. So they affirmed their knowledge of what those are. So they provided the new definitions of what a record service is, what a record storage yard is. And the items that they affirmed were the residential buffer, which is 300 feet, ground surface that needs to be hard surface or treated. They've indicated in the site plan, and there's existing stone to stabilize the site. They do have the accessory use of storage. Their area is designated as the gravel parking area that is on their site plan. They've attested that there is a full enclosure, that the height of that enclosure is a fence with a height of 8 feet. That no vehicles will be stored between the street and the fence at the front of the lot. They're aware of the visual screening, which they have on that site. It's topographical. Their site's kind of elevated from the road. As you drive by, you kind of see the entrance, which is allowable to see through. And then the rest of it is an embankment that's currently vegetated, but that's really in addition to the visual screening that's provided by its elevation. So you can't see back into the lot, which is one of the requirements. They don't have plywood attached to the fencing or other materials that we would otherwise deem insufficient. They've affirmed that they will maintain these fences in good condition. They also understand that if vegetative screening were required, which in this case it's satisfied by the berm that we were talking about, that evergreens spaced appropriately so you can't see through them and at least 8 feet tall would be required. They also affirmed that no vehicle would be stored longer than 6 months unless it was authorized by law, permit, or some court order. They stated that 30 to 45 days or less is typically an average for that process to occur. Their vehicle storage count could be controlled by safe and convenient access for firefighting apparatus. You have the discretion in this board to apply additional requirements, but they are also required to provide that safe and convenient access. So driveway aisles to move in and around, equipment if they needed to respond to a fire. They also acknowledge that they don't store tires on the site that would accumulate water. There's some language in our ordinance about mosquito control. So they affirmed or attested to these requirements when they were present. Your choice today is to impose any other additional requirements, which would be relative to these types of items. Number of vehicles stored, the lighting, street access, drainage, screening in the neighborhood of these reasonable requirements. There's additional language that kind of drives that home, but things that are reasonable and, related to screening and access and these types of things.
It would be unique for the site.
I think this new process gives us a lot of leeway. I mean, we can put a lot of, what we didn't have before, so I think we can, it's either special use, a use on review or special exception, and that gives us an opportunity, planning commission, an opportunity to put tighter restrictions that, how many vehicles and how long we're gonna be there and how much screening, so. This is the first time we've used the new guidelines, so. Going forward, I think this will be a good process.
I think I remember how we got to this point of wanting to have that ability to review the use. I want to make sure that, are there specific points? I know you went through the checklist, which is a lot of different things. Things that were in the regulation itself that were specifically stated are not in question. It's just the fact that we have a general use on review for these type of operations. Is that my understanding, or did we make a regulation that they're already wanting exceptions from?
This is so there are things that are listed as permitted uses in this district. This is listed as a use allowed by special exception.
Yeah.
So it's a request. If this was a new facility, if this was a grass plot that was this same M1 zoning district, and they wanted to apply with this land use, this would be the same process.
Mm-hmm.
But they are meeting all the requirements, we went through the checklist.
That's what I was.
There's nothing we're asking.
It's a little bit unusual because we usually face a particular rule that's being violated. In this case, there's not a rule. It's a general right for review of junk cards of this nature. So I wasn't seeing any red flags.
No, we've reviewed it with them to make sure that they had everything that they needed before it came to
Sure.
the Board of Zoning Appeals, which is part of this process of us reviewing
I know where it is, and I pass it quite often, so I don't see a problem, especially given its location for complying with these things. And so I make a recommendation, we approve it at Board of Zoning Appeals.
Yeah, I'll second it, and I appreciate all the work you guys do, because, I mean, at the end of the day, these are required, where we have to have a record service or telephone service in the community, but we also want it to be something that people either don't realize is there, or that they don't mind looking at.
Yeah.
And I think that
It's in
these.
the right spot,
Yeah, I think the regulations you guys put in place allow either that on the front side, or some sort of control over what they start to do that maybe we don't want as a community to have, like plywood on fencing and tires drawing a whole bunch of mosquitoes, or I mean, whatever it might be that just becomes an eyesore or a problem for the community.
And this gives us the mechanism to
Right.
do a code enforcement or a zoning enforcement if the site starts not meeting our requirements. Because they did come here and state that they were gonna do all of these things, which means they have to continue to do all of these things. And if they don't, then we now have
we can issue citations.
Sure. Travis's team will be on them.
Yeah, they were here for the previous hearing in planning commission. My concern before for the vote would be that if you wanted to impart any or impose any additional requirements, that they would be here to discuss those. So if you have some, or if you don't, then maybe proceed. But that would be my only thought is if
They have agreed to all these.
they attested to all the ones
Yeah,
that we read.
That was a long-winded.
That'll be part of the record.
Be saying, second.
That's why we have the signed
Sorry.
checklist that they agreed to.
That was a detailed second.
Yes, yeah, detailed second. Sounded like a first, but it was a second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Can I please get a roll call vote?
Kevin Bookout,
Yes.
Mayor Harris,
Yes.
Rachel Random,
Yes.
Linda Leffler,
Yes.
Clayton Pangle,
Yes.
Brenda DeVore,
Yes.
and Abigail Allhouse.
Yes. Okay, we have no items of new business. Are there any other staff or committee reports? Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion. Second.
All those in favor?
Thank you.